Hi, NARC troopers. For those of you who don't know what it's like to have obsessive compulsive ruminations that are intrusive thoughts, triggers anxiety, panic, and other symptoms of PTSD, we're going to take a walk to the mailbox and see what that's like, okay? So I'm on my front porch, and as I step outside here, it's a day, right, in Austin. And the first thing that I notice about this day is that you're seeing what I see, but you can't feel what I feel. So the weird thing about this is that when I step out, the first thing I notice is that the weather, it's so humid, damp, it's so still, and it's so quiet. And immediately I think this feels like the day. I feel myself walking. I'm not just remembering, I'm feeling it as if I'm walking down at Peace Park in Austin, Texas, on my way to Eeyore's birthday party. Or maybe, I'm not sure why I'm at Peace Park. Maybe it's for, I campaigned for Obama. Maybe that's why I'm being punished. I campaigned for Obama and we had a meetup at Peace Park. But in any event, it feels like that. It's cloudy, there's no sun, it's very humid. It's about 62 degrees, 64 degrees, something like that. And what I'm thinking as I walk out here is I'm not thinking anything. I'm just thinking I'm walking to the park. And as I walk to the park, it feels real. It feels like that's where I am. It feels like that's what I'm doing, is that I'm walking to the park. And it's that weather. And I'm suddenly transported there. I don't know where we parked. I feel like we either just went to Milto's or we're going to Milto's, which is down there on the drag. And my psychopath really loved their chicken shawarma at Milto's. And so somehow that's factoring into my day. I'm having chicken shawarma at Milto's and maybe going into Buffalo Exchange and doing that. But so I am now turning around, showing you this day, my street, my walk to the mailbox. Recycling bins are out for most of the houses. So I'm feeling like I'm somewhere else. I'm disembodied. I'm not in this reality. I'm not present in this moment. And I'm asking myself to come back. I say to myself, okay, Prajen, come back to right now. What you're going to get the mailbox. You are in Austin, Texas. You are on your street. You are heading that way. Here comes a car. It's going to run over you. You're trying to put yourself in the moment so that you're present, having some mindfulness, and that you're not like stuck in some other reality, somewhere else, some other experience from years ago. This was maybe, over 10 years ago that I'm reliving that when I'm walking over here to the mailbox, and I don't know why. So now I come to the mailbox and I am on a different street. I'm on a different street, but the green belts in this neighborhood all look the same. So I'm looking around at the green belts and they look familiar because there was a green belt right beside our house, the house that Psychopath and I lived in when we were married. Was a green belt there, and suddenly all the stuff that happened in that green belt, seeing the wildflowers back there, stepping on something sharp that goes through my shoe, and he has to help me hobble in the house. I'm bleeding and we have to go get that tended to. I think of the stories he would tell me about seeing giant rattlesnakes. And then suddenly I'm reliving that. I'm in that green belt with him and we're walking along and I'm wondering if I'm going to see a snake, because I hate snakes. I don't want to see a snake. These green belts are a complicated network throughout this neighborhood. And strangely enough, after I sold that house that Psychopath and I lived in just months ago, I moved just 2 blocks away, and there's still these green belts everywhere. And then this is the mailbox. I don't even have a mailbox anymore. So as I approach this mailbox and this green belt that you can see here, I'm thinking, what the hell? What happened to my mailbox? At my house, he put in a mailbox. He sculpted and landscaped. He brought rocks from the green belt and put them in our garden, and he planted things, and we had this awesome mailbox. It was the best mailbox on the block. Well, except for the one guy that has a construction company and takes all their leftovers and builds himself all this weird stuff. Except for that guy, we had the best mailbox on the block. And now I have this, and I'm thinking about that other mailbox, and I'm thinking, why do I have this shit? What is this? This isn't a mailbox. It's not even at my house. And so, you know, what is this? You know, I don't want to get mail from this. I feel like I've been, like, I don't know. I want my mailbox. I want to go out and get things from my mailbox. So I hope you are getting a feel of what it's like for me just to go to my mailbox. I commented to someone the other day that sometimes when you're being swallowed up by whatever you want to call this, you know, PTSD, anxiety, whatever, sometimes when you're having that happen to you, no matter how hard you try, you cannot transport yourself back to the present. And I have all these techniques to do that I will tell you. I start naming 5 things that I see and 4 things that I, you know, can hear, and 3 things I can smell, and I do that technique. I'll do some tapping, and I'll tap to try to bring myself back to the now. You know, I will, you know, there's a million different techniques I have, but I'm standing at the mailbox, and before I can actually implement any of these tools to bring myself back to now, I'm in some flashback from the past that I can't control because it hijacks me. And the way that that's been explained to me, is that when you have been through a relationship like this with one of these people, one of these cluster B people, and you're addicted to the abuse and reward cycle. It's an abuse reward cycle where things are bad and then they're really good and then they're really bad and then they're really good. Y'all know that. You know, the guy punches his wife in the face and then brings her flowers and candy and takes her out to dinner and is really sweet and does all of her chores for another week until he smacks her in the face again. That cycle. I didn't get smacked around. I almost wish that I had been hit, because then it would just be boom, one time over. Probably wouldn't kill me. And the emotional abuse, though, is much more insidious and treacherous. It sticks with you. It has a very sticky quality to it. And it doesn't, you know, it's with you all the time because it's sort of become part of who you are and what your life experience is. So instead of just walking to the mailbox and thinking, what a nice day, I'm not walking to the mailbox. I'm back in that park with him, and we're going there, and everything's perfect. I mean, even though it wasn't, it felt like it at the time. And now, when I'm back there with him in that place, it feels perfect again. Yeah, and that's like my own delusion. It wasn't perfect. It was a lot of things, but that it wasn't. But that went on for 16 years. And so today, going to the mailbox, I am not going to the mailbox. I'm going to the park. I'm in the park. I'm in the park. And it's like when I realize that I'm not in that park and that where I am, nothing seems familiar. This isn't my this isn't where I live. This isn't my life. How did I get here? I'm a refugee. I'm a refugee. And I'm homeless. I'm really homeless. And, yeah, how do I have any hopes of meeting anybody seriously and having happy, healthy love for once in my whole freaking life? Have somebody who actually really knows what love is and loves me. How can I ever hope I'm going to have that before I die, when I can't even walk to the mailbox without having this PTSD experience with these flashbacks that are real? And when I come out, I'm not in some foreign street that I don't recognize, where my house is gone and I'm in some other house that I don't recognize. How did I get to this house? It's only been 3 months. It's only been 3 months since I sold the house that I lived in with Narcopath. And, you know, yesterday when I went up to get something to eat, I was driving home and I'd have to pass by that street where I would always turn all those years. And suddenly we were carpooling again and he was with me. Suddenly I felt that in my DNA, in my bones. I couldn't make it to stop. I thought, well, what are we going to have for supper? Oh yeah, it's Monday crock pot night. And I made a crock pot of stew, and I'm going to make some cornbread when I get home to go with that stew. And we'll be eating 45 minutes from now. I'm so hungry. And he's with me because we carpooled together and we taught at the same school. And then I turn onto this new street and I realize, hey, wait, where am I going? I'm not going home. I'm not going home because now, 3 months ago, I sold my home to somebody else. There is no home. There is no crock pot of stew. And my husband isn't sitting beside me, talking to me with all this talk, word salad, crazy stuff like he always talks about. I'm alone, and I'm on a new street, and I'm going home to this new place that isn't home. And man, everything about this really sucks. I don't want this life. I don't want to exist like this. This hurts. Sometimes when I walk outside, I feel like the air that I'm breathing is like acid. And every breath that I take feels like it's poison. And it feels like I can't get my breath. And when I do, it's like that. It's like some crazy can't breathe. And this air touching my skin just aggravates me. It's like sandpaper. It feels like sandpaper rubbing on my skin. And everything that touches me, even the air, hurts. Even the air hurts. It hurts on my skin and it hurts to breathe it. And that sounds absolutely crazy. There's a dog barking. It's not my dog. That sounds crazy, but it happened. It happened. The whole air hurting me and the whole just being alive, waking up, existing. It's not my life. It feels like it doesn't belong to me. It feels like it's being hijacked and taken away, maybe by my brain chemicals, maybe by some, neural pathway that's forcing me down this rutted road that has deep ruts, and I just can't get out of that road. The road that takes me to a home that's not there anymore. The road that takes me to Peace Park to go there and spend the day. The road that takes me to Milto's for a chicken shawarma. So for those of you who don't know what PTSD is, and for those of you who don't believe that following a relationship with a narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath, that your brain is jacked up on chemicals and it hijacks you, and that you're having PTSD symptoms from trauma like you've been in a war. And the flashbacks are real. They take you away to that other place that doesn't exist anymore. And the current reality is gone because you're in that other place. And when you get out of it and realize where you are, everything hurts. Everything hurts. And the scariest part, in a couple of months, it's getting ready to be March 1st. In June, what is that, 3.5 more months? It's going to mark the 2-year mark. 2 years of my life I have lost because of this. It's like, you know, when he did this to me, it was no warning. No warning that he was even thinking about leaving or he was unhappy or nothing, just nothing. It was like everything was great. And then he was gone. And so all this time, my life has not belonged to me. All this time, I've been trying to crawl and claw and scramble my way up out of this pit of darkness that I'm in. But my brain doesn't cooperate. And yeah, how, you know, the whole world sees these videos. How am I going to move forward with any person that's a friend or a partner when they see that I have PTSD? I actually met a guy with PTSD and it seemed like such a perfect match, but he lived in San Antonio and we couldn't maintain the difference. But that's what I need. I need somebody who has a serious kick in their ass kind of addiction or PTSD or some kind of trauma, something that they're going through. They would understand. Nobody else is going to get this. Nobody else is going to get it. It's temporary. That's what they keep telling me. I have 2 different therapists now, and they both say, this is temporary. You're doing so much better. It's going to pass. It's going to get better. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. So, thanks for taking this walk with me today. I'm going back to the house now. That's not my house. I'm going back to fix something to eat. It's not a chicken shawarma from Milto's. Milto's doesn't even exist anymore. I'm going to go back to this house and I'm going to eat something and watch the news and try to maybe call some people and say, hey, how are y'all doing? And get my mind off of all of this, because I can function. I can keep my job. I can do my chores. I can do the things that I need to do. But just a walk to a mailbox feels like this. So can you imagine how hard it is to do these things that I used to love to do when everything that I experience is so hard? It's really hard. It's really hard. So for each of you going through this, oh my gosh, I love you so much. And I'm so sorry that you have to go through this. I'm so sorry that it hurts so bad and that you're so out of control of it. But they say, and I have to believe this, that we're going to get to that day where we can just walk to the mailbox. We can just make something to eat. We can just walk up to our house and be okay with it. Nothing's going to hurt, and we're not going to be transported to some other place. We're just breathing the air. Is the same air of that day in that park. It's identical. It's the same air. And our brains won't take us there anymore. And we'll get to be in the present. We'll get to be right here, right now, and live our lives without the trauma and without the PTSD. So take care, keep fighting. I know we can do this. I know we can. It's just a matter of we just have to keep praying and trying to bring ourselves under control. It's like a car that's sliding out of control on ice. We just have to learn how to not end up upside down in the ditch. We have to learn how to slide and glide, do some moonwalking on that ice. We have to learn how to navigate these roads safely without slipping and sliding all over the place. That's what we need to do. And I think we can do it. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying so hard. Okay. All right. Just wanted to share that to educate people who don't know what this is. I'm not crazy. I can do my job. I can be a real person. I can have friends, I can do work, I can make decisions, I can run a house. But what I can't do is get rid of this PTSD yet. Maybe I'm going to have to do the ayahuasca in Peru or the ketamine therapy or something like that. Maybe that's the next step. But anyway, thanks guys for being here today, and much love. Okay, bye.